Hi everyone, and welcome to Why the Traditional View of ICP Prevents Your SDRs from Maximizing the ROI of your MQLs and what you can do about it. My name is Becc Holland. I'm the Head of Sales Development at chorus.ai. As far as our agenda today, I thought we'd break it up into 3 different sections. The first section, I wanted to go into the traditional view of an ICP. What is the definition of ICP to marketers? What do marketers value when it comes to an MQL? And how are they surfacing the leads to SDRs in terms of what they value when it comes to a marketing qualified lead? The second piece of the agenda, I really wanted to go into why those are different from what an SDR values. What pieces of an MQL or a lead does an SDR value? And how can we define that gap between what marketing is valuing and what an SDR is valuing? Then I wanted to, in the third piece of the agenda, redefine the terminology and break out the different pieces of an ICP so that we can put more structure around it, and then go into how you can build sequences and cadences to ensure that you're surfacing the most lucrative MQLs to your SDRs as possible. We'll start with the beginner's version, for people who just want to put their toe in the water, and then we'll end with the full DEFCON 5 nuclear nerddom version for experts, if you have the ops and automation support to support that, of the 9 sequences you can build to make sure that you're giving lethal leads to your SDRs. By the end of this session, you should walk away with the 9 different cadences or the 4 different sequences that you can build into your sales engagement platform to make sure you're holistically maximizing the ROI of your campaigns. But first, let's start with the traditional view of ICP. So when it comes to ICP for companies, I usually see them from a marketing perspective value 2 things. They value the type of company that they're reaching out to, and then they value the level of engagement. So the company, this can mean a myriad of things for different marketing teams. Maybe for instance over here at Chorus, it can mean employee size or sales team size. Of a higher level of sales representatives means a more lucrative deal to us. Or an ideal company for us is someone who uses a specific tech stack. So for instance, for us over here at Chorus, we would like for them to use a CRM such as Salesforce, sales engagement vendors such as Outreach, and then a web conferencing platform such as Zoom. Or maybe it's an industry vertical that company fits in that makes it more of an easy sell whenever you're selling to them. And the other piece that marketing teams value is their level of engagement. So, I've seen this based on a point system a lot of the time. Maybe you value ebook downloads or webinar registrants, more than you value someone who attended an event. But typically I see marketing teams using some kind of point system to score how engaged is this person within the content that we're releasing. But the problem that I always had with this as being an SDR team lead and managing a team is really this is leaving out the level of the title of the person that is downloading the content. So for instance, if the traditional view of your ICP, is set of like, this is a great company, let's use Oracle for this example, and this is someone who's downloading a lot of my content, the one thing that people weren't including when it came to marketing is the level of the title of the person in the room. So I used to get a lot of marketing leads or leads that were sent to me from marketing, and they would say, well, this is Oracle and they're downloading a lot of my stuff. And the first question that I had and that the SDRs on all of my subsequent teams ladder had is, well, this is, maybe an intern, or this is someone in a department that we don't sell to. So like, for instance, for us, it would be a product team, that we typically sell into a sales ICP or a sales enablement ICP. So when your SDRs are looking into these leads, the 2 criterion of what makes someone really valuable to them is this is someone who comes from a great company and someone who has a great title. So, maybe VP of sales or a CRO is the 3-star buyer persona. A 2-star buyer persona could be someone who's a director level, and maybe a 1-star buyer persona is a manager or senior manager. But maybe individual contributors you don't want to sell to. So I think it's very important when you're talking about MQLs to not only worry about what company they're coming from and how much of the content are they downloading, but equally as important, what is the title of the person that is downloading your content? So when an SDR is looking at these MQLs, these are the 2 things that they are looking at to see if they want to call on this person, because they know that it's a very a buyer with high potential. So today I wanted to make up my own terms and kind of redefine what ICP is. So again, the two different things that go into an SDR seeing a lead as valuable is the company and the title. So the two terms I wanted to make up today is number one, ideal customer title, and we'll use the abbreviation ICT, and then ideal customer company, and we'll use the abbreviation ICC. There's a couple other definitions that I included down here of H equals high, M equals medium, and L equals low, and A equals acceptable. And we'll use these within the cadences that we structure. So let's start with the beginner's version of what kind of sequences or cadences you can build to make sure that you're getting all of the juice out of those leads that are coming through from an MQL perspective. For the session today, I value, typically the SDR teams I've worked with value title a little bit more than they value the size of the company. So we'll say that the bar for someone, the bar for either a title or a company that we would work with will be designated by A, which equals acceptable. And then H will mean, they're a little bit higher title or they're a little bit higher, company that we want to talk to. So the beginner's version that I would suggest building, and you can do these kinds of sequences for ebooks, you can do them for webinars, you can do them for events, you can even do them for someone who's demoed in the past or someone who is a past user. Maybe they used you at one company and then moved on. But let's today focus on ebook downloads, for instance. So a beginner's version or a cursory look at it, I would go into my sales engagement platform, whether that was, Outreach, SalesLoft, InsideSales.com, Groover, Yesware, and I would build in the following 4 sequences in this order, knowing that I value title over company, in this order to make sure I'm surfacing to my SDRs the kinds of leads that they want. The first sequence that I would build is high ICT and high ICC. So this is the level of title that I would really like, and this is the kind of company that I would really like. So for us over here at Chorus, a high ICT would be a VP of sales or a senior vice president of sales, and a great company would be, someone who has 500 employees or more, and then has the integration stack that I aforementioned. The second sequence that I would build, again, knowing that I value title over company, you can switch it up if you'd like, is high ICT and acceptable ICC. So this is someone who has a great title and they have an acceptable company for my company to sell into, but it's not someone who's super glamorous. So this was super glamorous title, super glamorous company, both. This is super glamorous title and an average, a typical company. The third sequence that I would build is acceptable title, but high ICC. So, you have AICT delineated out of here. Maybe this is a manager of sales. So they still hit our requirement in terms of title, but they aren't super glamorous or attractive for us to sell into, but it's a really great company. So this would be a manager of sales over at a company like Oracle for us. And then the fourth sequence that we would finish off with is average ICT and average ICC. So this is someone who downloaded my content who has, a manager of sales title for someone who's maybe a 200-person company. So again, very lucrative to our business over here at Chorus and people that we want to sell into and we like selling into, but they're not quite as glamorous as some of the companies out there for us to sell into. So this is the beginner's version. You could build this for any kind of what I call postbound lead. So an inbound lead is a demo request or someone who comes in your chat box like Drift or Intercom. An outbound lead is someone who has never heard of you ever before. And a postbound lead is any leads that are in the middle. They've heard of your company, they've engaged with your content, but they aren't yet quite yet a hand raiser. So a postbound lead would be an ebook download, someone who attended a webinar, someone who attended an event, like we mentioned, past user, demoed in the past. But for a beginner company, who I would suggest build sequences like this is maybe an SMB company or a mid-market company who doesn't quite have the ops team and the automation team to be able to fill these sequences accordingly. So, within my CRM, I would delineate out that anyone who's a vice president ticks the high ICT box within my CRM. Anyone who's a director, senior manager of sales, or Senior manager of operations, enablement, et cetera, would be an average ICT that you can trigger within your CRM, whether that's Salesforce or Zoho, et cetera. So that's the beginner's version. But now let's go into the nerdy DEF CON 5 version. So the expert version are not for the faint of heart. The expert version, you want to, instead of just saying that someone's an acceptable title or a high title, we want to go into 3 different categories for ICC and ICT both. So an ICC, just for a reminder, is your ideal customer company, whether that's in terms of tech stack, employee size, whatever matters to you. And then an ICT is your title. So high, medium, and low is what we're looking at as opposed to a pass-fail. This is an A through F grading. So again, I'm going to go with the instance of title is a little bit more important to you as a company than the actual company itself, but feel free to switch them up if you like. The first sequence that I would build for experts is high ICT, high ICC. So this is a great title. This is a VP of sales at a company that's 500 people plus for us over here at Chorus. The second sequence that I would build is high ICT and medium ICC. So this is a great title, and it's a pretty average company for us to sell into. Like, it's an average deal, nothing to get super excited about, but still a quality deal. The third sequence I would go into or build is medium ICT, high ICC. So this is a mediocre level of title, but this is a great company for us to sell into. So an instance for us this would be a director of sales at someone like Oracle. Really great company for us to sell into. The fourth sequence that I would build is a medium ICT, medium ICC. So this is a director of sales at a mediocre average company for us. The fifth sequence that I would build is high ICT, low ICC. So this is a great title for us to sell into. So this is a VP of sales or a CRO. But this isn't a great company for us to sell into, but it's still acceptable. So a low ICC for us in terms of company would maybe be someone who has under 100 employees, 50 to 100 employees. We'll still sell to them, but they're not a super great deal for us. The sixth sequence that I would build is a low ICT, high ICC. So this is a really low title for us to sell into, but it's still acceptable. So it's like a manager of sales for us or a team lead, but it's a high ICC. So it's a really great company for us to sell into. So this would be a team lead over at Oracle, for instance, for us. The seventh sequence I would build is medium ICT, low ICC. So medium ICT is a director for us. Low ICC is 50 to 100 employees. The eighth sequence I would do low ICT, medium ICC, not a great title for us, but a pretty average company. And then the ninth and last sequence, drumroll please, is, you guessed it, low ICT and low ICC. So again, acceptable, they hit the criterion, but it's not something that we would want to spend a lot of time in. So kind of in summary here, the 9 sequences are listed out to you for experts. The beginner's version, if you just want to put your toe in the water, are the following 4. But I think what's really important here is that you are structuring for SDRs what kinds of leads that they should call on and when. So when I'm an SDR, you're typically hiring someone who's brand new to, just the business world in general. So the more that you can be you can define out for them which leads they should call on and when, the more helpful it is for them to turn it into book meetings and close more deals. So thanks everyone for coming to the session today. I hope everyone has a great rest of their day.